I started learning English when I was 10 years old. At that time, I did not know how important English would be for my future. In the beginning, I just followed my teacher. I repeated the words. I sang songs, and I copied sentences from the board. I did not think much about it. I thought English was just another subject in school, like math or science. But slowly, things started to change. In secondary school, we had a new English teacher. She was very kind, but also very serious. She gave us a lot of homework. We had to learn vocabulary, grammar, and how to write paragraphs. She told us that English was important for jobs, for travel, and for understanding the world. I started to listen carefully. I wanted to learn more, but it was not easy. Sometimes I felt tired. Sometimes I forgot new words. Sometimes I did not understand the grammar rules. For example, I did not know when to use do, or does, did, or done, have been, or had been. It was confusing. I made many mistakes. I felt shy to speak. I was afraid people would laugh at me. I often stayed quiet in class. One day, the teacher asked me to come to the board and speak about my weekend. I was so nervous. My hands were shaking. My voice was low. I said, "I go to the market yesterday." The class laughed. The teacher smiled and said, "Don't worry. You are learning. Try again. Say, 'I went to the market yesterday.'" I repeated it. I said, "I went to the market yesterday." That moment stayed in my mind. I learned that making mistakes is okay. What is important is to keep trying. After that, I started practicing more. I wrote short paragraphs every day. I listened to English songs. I tried to write down the lyrics. I watched movies with subtitles. I repeated the sentences. I listened to how native speakers spoke. I wanted to sound like them. I also started reading more. I read comic books, short stories, and English magazines. I learned many new words. In high school, I joined an English speaking club. At first, I was very shy. I did not know what to say, but the other students were friendly. They helped me. They waited for me to speak. They gave me time. They corrected my mistakes, but in a nice way. I felt safe. I started speaking more. I learned how to introduce myself, how to ask questions, how to describe things, how to give my opinion. I began to enjoy speaking in English. One day, a foreign teacher visited our school. He came from Australia. He asked us simple questions. When it was my turn, I answered. I said, "My name is Lynn. I like reading books. I want to speak English better." He smiled and said, "That's great, Lynn. You are doing well." I felt so proud. That day, I decided I wanted to speak English fluently. From that day, I made a plan. Every day, I would read for 30 minutes. I would listen to English radio or watch videos. I would write in my English diary. I would speak with my friends in the club. I also found language partners online. I spoke to people from other countries. I learned about their cultures, their food, their festivals, their lives. It was amazing. English opened the door to the world. When I went to university, English helped me a lot. Many books were in English. Many lessons were in English. I could understand the teachers. I could read research papers. I could write emails, essays, and reports. I helped my classmates with their writing. Some students even asked me to help them prepare for presentations. I felt useful. I felt strong. I felt proud of my English. After graduation, I looked for a job. I found a company that worked with people from other countries. They wanted someone who could speak and write English well. I applied. I was nervous about the interview, but I remembered all the practice I had done. I remembered all the words, all the grammar, all the speaking clubs. I went to the interview. I spoke clearly. I answered their questions. A few days later, they called me. They said, "Congratulations, you got the job." I was so happy. I told my family. We celebrated together. Now, I use English every day. I write emails. I join online meetings. I talk to clients. I read reports. I explain things to my co-workers. I even teach, some of them, new English words. English is part of my life. It is not just a subject anymore. It is my tool. It is my skill. It is my friend. Learning English also helped me travel. I went to Thailand, to Malaysia, and to Singapore. In each country, I used English to ask for directions, to order food, to buy tickets, to make friends. I met people from many countries. We shared stories. We laughed. We took photos. We stayed in touch through messages and video calls. Without English, I could not do all of that. One day, I want to go to the UK or the USA. I want to study there. I want to visit famous places. I want to see how people live there. I want to improve my English even more. I know I still have a lot to learn. Sometimes, I still make mistakes. But now I am not afraid. I know mistakes help me learn. I am not perfect, but I am better every day. If someone asks me, "Is English easy?" I will say, "Number. It takes time. It takes effort. But it is possible. You just need to keep going." If someone asks, "How can I learn English?" I will say, start small. Read a little. Listen a little. Write a little. Speak a little. Every day. Don't stop. I believe anyone can learn English. You do not need to be a genius. You do not need to speak perfectly. You just need to practice. You need to believe in yourself. You need to try. Again and again. English changed my life. It gave me confidence. It gave me opportunities. It gave me friends. It gave me a voice. And it can do the same for you. This is my English journey. It is not finished. It will never finish. Because learning never ends. Every day, I learn something new. And every day, I become a little better. So don't wait. Don't be afraid. Start your English journey today. Read, listen, speak, write. Do it every day. You will be surprised how far you can go. Just believe in yourself. After getting my first job, I felt very excited. Every day was new. Every task was different. I had to speak English with clients from other countries. At first, I was scared. I did not understand everything. Sometimes, people spoke too fast. Sometimes, they used words I did not know. But I always listened carefully. I always asked questions when I needed help. Slowly, I became better. I made a list of new words every day. I wrote them in a notebook. I used the new words in my emails. I used them in my conversations. I practiced them in my free time. I also watched short English videos during lunch. They helped me learn how people speak naturally. I copied their way of speaking. I practiced their sentences. I recorded my voice and listened. I wanted to sound more confident. It was hard work, but it was worth it. One day, my manager called me into his office. He said, "You are doing well. We want you to join a meeting with our client next week." I felt nervous, but I said yes. I prepared for the meeting. I read all the documents. I wrote down questions and answers. I practiced what I would say. When the day came, I wore my best clothes. I went to the meeting room early. When the client joined the call, I smiled and said, "Good morning." We started talking. I spoke slowly and clearly. I used simple English. The client smiled. He understood me. We finished the meeting. My manager said, "Good job." I felt so happy. From that day, I was part of more meetings. I wrote more reports. I talked to more clients. I started teaching my co-workers some simple English too. I told them, "You can do it. Just practice every day." They started asking me for help. We formed a small English group. We met twice a week. We helped each other. We corrected each other. We laughed. We learned together. It was fun. After 1 year, I joined a short English course in the city. The class had 10 people. We had a young teacher from the UK. He was funny and friendly. He used games, stories, and group work. We spoke a lot. We wrote stories. We listened to podcasts. He told us, "Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak." I liked that. I felt free. I improved my speaking and listening a lot. One evening, the teacher said, "Next week, we will have a small test. Don't be afraid. It is just to see how much you learned." I studied hard. I reviewed vocabulary. I practiced grammar. I watched English shows. I spoke to myself in the mirror. On the day of the test, I felt ready. I took the test. It was not easy, but I tried my best. A week later, the teacher gave back our papers. I got a high score. He said, "You are improving fast." That made me smile. After finishing the course, I wanted to do more. I wanted to use English in new ways. I started writing blogs in English. I wrote about my life, my work, and my language journey. I posted my blogs online. Some people read them. Some left comments. One person wrote, "Your story is inspiring. Thank you." I felt proud. I also started watching TED Talks. I liked listening to people share ideas. They spoke clearly and with feeling. I learned new words. I learned how to give better presentations. I practiced giving talks in front of my friends. I used a mirror to practice body language. I stood tall. I smiled. I used my hands. I spoke with confidence. One day, my company organized a public event. They needed someone to give a short speech in English. My manager said, "Do you want to try?" I said yes. I wrote my speech. I practiced it for many days. I asked my English teacher to check it. I memorized it. On the event day, I stood in front of 100 people. I took a deep breath. I smiled. I spoke slowly and clearly. When I finished, people clapped. My manager said, "You did great." I felt very proud. Later, I was invited to give another talk, this time at a local school. I spoke to students about why English is important. I said, English can give you a better job. English can help you meet new people. English can help you grow. The students listened. Some asked questions. I felt happy to help. After that, I started volunteering at a free English center. Every Saturday, I taught basic English to kids. We played games, sang songs, and told stories. The kids were happy. I was happy too. Teaching helped me become better at speaking and explaining. It also made me feel useful. Over time, my English got better and better. I watched longer movies. I read full books. I listened to fast conversations. I started thinking in English more often. Sometimes, I even dreamed in English. I was surprised, but it felt amazing. I also made more friends from around the world. I joined an international chat group. We talked about food, hobbies, news, and culture. I learned about life in other countries. I shared my culture too. One friend from Brazil said, "Your English is clear and easy to understand." That made me smile. Later, I decided to take an English exam. I wanted a certificate. I chose the B2 exam. I studied for 3 months. I did practice tests. I watched YouTube lessons. I joined an online class. I worked hard. The exam was long and difficult, but I stayed calm. A few weeks later, I got my result. I passed. I was so proud. I showed my family. They cheered for me. With that certificate, I applied for a better job. I wanted to grow. I wanted new challenges. I had an interview in English. I was nervous, but I remembered everything I learned. I spoke clearly. I gave good answers. I smiled. 2 days later, they offered me the job. I said yes. Now, I work in a big company. I write reports, send emails, give presentations, and lead meetings all in English. I also help train new employees. Some of them are afraid of English. I always tell them, I was like you, but I practiced. You can too. Looking back, I feel proud of my journey. I started as a shy student. I was afraid to speak. I made many mistakes, but I never gave up. I practiced every day. I used English every day. I learned from my mistakes. I listened, read, wrote, and spoke. Learning English changed my life. It gave me confidence. It gave me better jobs. It gave me new friends. It helped me travel. It helped me grow. And I am still learning. Every day I learn something new. A new word, a new phrase, a new way to say something. If you are learning English, don't stop. Keep going. Speak a little every day. Listen to English every day. Write simple sentences. Read easy books. Talk to people. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Smile and try again. One day, you will look back and say, I did it. And you will be proud, just like me. This is my English story. It started many years ago, and it still continues, every single day.